Hello and thank you for watching our video. My name is Anubhav. I'm from EngineCAL and I'm here today to talk to you about CarINTELL, which is our software application deployed as an Android app. CarINTELL is our flagship software application meant for end users, and we have many other applications meant for businesses and manufacturers, both at the R&D department and manufacturing quality end of line department. But we're going to jump into CarINTELL today, and I'm going to give you a demo as I drive. I'm going to try and speak to you as I drive, and I'm sure you'll be able to understand what we've tried to achieve with CarINTELL. Before I go into the HUD mode and drive, I'd like to tell you that CarINTELL may be perhaps the only application in its category which is able to bring down tailpipe emissions and reduce fuel consumption, and you will be seeing firsthand how we are able to do that. So I'm going to jump right in now.
Always press clutch before cranking.
So I've already done a run a few hours ago. That's the reason why the coolant is at 42 degrees. But nevertheless, a bulk of this video should be a cold drive, and you'll see how we keep track of the tailpipe emissions both in cold condition and warm condition, and how we urge the driver to stay within the emission cycle, which is best optimized for a good balance between emissions, fuel consumption, and performance. Alright, I'm going to start driving now. So we're going to potter around for another minute or two at this speed. I'm in my apartment complex, so I'm driving around until I reach the gate. I think we can only touch 15 kilometers per hour. Post that, we start simulating a average city drive, anything from 5 kilometers per hour to about 60 kilometers per hour. You'll see it as I drive. Okay, we're going to start now. The load condition in my car right now is just me. And we have some alternator load. That's the headlamps, and of course we have the air conditioner on. Alright, here we go.
Engine still cold. Go easy on the acceleration.
Alright, so this is one of the first few instances that you see when the engine is cold. That means it's not over about 68 degrees of coolant temperature. We deem it cold, and that's when the engine is more sensitive to emissions as well as fuel consumption. So at this point we're trying to keep the driver within the emission cycle. So we've kept these limits, these thresholds as realistically possible, so that he or she can drive with other passengers in the car, be swift, yet not be too scared to press the throttle. I'm going to now drive without this message. I'm going to try and beat the app, and that's the whole idea. If you beat the app and EVA, so EVA stands for Engine and Vehicle Analytics, and she's also the assistant who's speaking over here right now. So the whole idea is to ensure that EVA doesn't catch me on anything, and if that's what I've done, then I've driven well within the emission cycle. I have ensured that the tailpipe emissions are kept to a minimum, fuel consumption is good, performance is also adequate. So here goes. My rate of acceleration is almost the same, keeping a steady speed. There's traffic, so I'm not able to drive too fast, but you can see that I'm already beating the app. As we drive, you'll see some more messages coming up, and I'll explain what they stand for. But in a nutshell, all the messages during the drive, what we call driver alerts, are to ensure that the car is driven in the most optimal manner, thereby ensuring that the tailpipe emission and the fuel consumption is capped.
Downshift please.
Alright, that's the downshift message. Now contrary to what you may think, that this is a basic algorithm based on engine and vehicle speed ratio. There's a lot that we assess before we decide to flag the driver to downshift. Some of the parameters being fuel flow, boost pressure, and of course the ratio. So all these are assessed. They're assessed inside the software application. They're assessed in as little time as possible, so that the driver is told well before he's past that point. I'll explain what that orange
downshift please.
Alright, that's another downshift message. That's not for the same gear, this time at a higher gear, but EVA says downshift because for the same reasons I just enumerated a little while ago. Alright, so what does the orange little humming lamp on the top left of the screen mean? This is a forewarning. What it's trying to tell you is that you're steadily approaching a fuel quantity zone which you don't quite need at this point. For the operating band that you're in and the momentum that you've already achieved, you don't quite need it. It's a forewarning. It doesn't mean that you wasted fuel. It's a forewarning so that you'll be giving you time to gently ease off the throttle. If you don't follow it, let me show you what happens. Alright, so you saw what happened. The red beep is the fuel breach beep, and that's what we're trying to tell you not to do. So before the red lamp, the red little beep was flagging me, you heard the orange lamp. So there was adequate time for you to let go of the throttle without really reducing your momentum to such an extent. So that's what we're trying to say, that you can continue driving the way you want. You can achieve almost the same speed, the same momentum, but just ease off the throttle because you already overcome the initial momentum. You already have the momentum and the inertia, you overcome it already, so you don't need that fueling. So that's what the fueling alerts are all about. Now coupled to this, there are so many more alerts about turbocharger protection, max speed alerts. If you're in the city, there's a different max speed alert. You're in the highway, it's a different, and this is all automated. It understands that you're in the city or you're in the highway. There's a off-road mode. It's for off-road enthusiasts. So there are plenty of features available as driver alerts, all of them for the all-important tailpipe emission and fuel consumption reduction, and a few thrown in for automotive enthusiasts. So I'm going to just keep driving and keep quiet now, and you're going to see all the different alerts come back again. That was the city speed, max speed alert. So you can see I'm able to accelerate quite quickly, but I'm not getting the red beep, and all I get is the orange hum, and I'm able to adjust my accelerator pedal position well in time. And while I said at the beginning of this video that there's only an air conditioner, just one driver, but even with 4 passengers and the same amount of load as in the air conditioner and the headlamps, the fog lamps on, even with a couple of suitcases thrown in, we run simulations, and we're quite realistic in the way the beeps and the hums are mapped out. Alright, that was just for fun. That's not how you save fuel, but you get the picture. Alright, let's see how fuel consumption and the drive statistics look like. I'm going to pull over now. Alright, and these are my drive stats. That's the mileage. On the right is the kilometers run in this drive cycle. The fuel consumed 0.29 liters. You can see that in coasting mode or the zero fuel mode, I have covered 45 seconds in my drive with zero fuel, and I've saved approximately 40 ml of fuel. My flywheel torque is 139.58 Newton meter, and my idle time is 1 minute. So there you go. There's a lot more that we will talk to you about in the next few videos, but thank you for watching. Hello and welcome to our video on CarINTEL. My name is Anubhav. I'm from EngineCAL. Now I've already made a few videos and demonstrated to you what CarINTEL is all about, and condone me if I'm being repetitive, but the whole idea is to make you understand how CarINTEL has been designed to help the end user stay within the emission cycle, which is best optimized by manufacturers who have calibrated the vehicle to achieve the emission certification. In this case, currently in our country, it's BS4, which is the equivalent for Euro 4. And the emission cycle, like I said, is best optimized, of course, for the all-important emissions, fuel consumption, and engine performance. Now, invariably, when we are driving in the city, there are many instances when we breach the emission cycle drive. So that means we are in a power band of the engine, which is more optimized for engine performance rather than emissions. So that's what the new upcoming real world emissions is all about. Probably we may see it come to our country in 2020 with Euro 6, I'm not sure. But anyway, this is our way of getting the driver to drive in as realistic as a manner as possible it may be, while keeping cognizance of what real world emissions is all about. So I'm just going to drive now in the head-up display mode, and we may be probably able to see some more alerts which were not covered in the previous drives.
Always press clutch before cranking. RPM dip is high. Consider downshift or raise the RPM.
So this is a scenario which shows up all the time in the city. Sometimes instead of downshifting to first, though we're still moving, however the vehicle velocity or the momentum is so low enough that we should perhaps downshift, we often don't do that. We try to take off in second gear itself, and that's what Eva just tried to do. She said that please raise the RPM or regulate your clutch and your pedal or downshift. So this is one of the alerts that I think we did not cover in the previous video. So a little bit about the drive alerts, and of course I think you've already comprehended how the tailpipe emissions during the drive, the fuel consumption during the drive reduce when you follow our in-drive alerts. I'm sure you've understood that, but what you may not know is that if you continue to drive in the way that Eva is suggesting, then your engine deterioration is brought down to a minimum. That means your engine component life, even your engine lubricants, your engine oil, they're kept in good stead right till the point your next service is due. So I think I've covered just about everything in drive alerts for the time being. Let me tell you a little about prognostics. So our connected car platform is all about drive alerts and prognostics. So it's a combination of the two. Of course, it depends on the sort of application being deployed. CarINTEL is a combination of drive alerts and prognostics. but some of our business applications are all about prognostics, and prognostics is of course very much part of CarINTELL. It's covered exhaustively. And so what do we mean by prognostics? So prognostics is very different from diagnostics. Diagnostics means that something has already failed and you've been entrusted with the job of finding out what has failed, and that's exactly what the diagnostics layer in the control unit is all about. Once a sensor or an actuator has malfunctioned, or a certain threshold is breached while the engine is running, or it's an idle, you might see the MIL lamp, the malfunction indicator lamp, light up. That's the electronic control unit, the engine electronic control unit, saying that, hey, I just picked up something wrong. Okay, so that's diagnostics. What about when the engine is not performing adequately? Your fuel consumption is not up to the mark, your engine performance is not quite right, or yeah, things like that. So what could be the reason? Shouldn't the control unit say that, hey, I think this is what's wrong with me, take it to the nearest dealership? That is not the case. So that's where prognostics really comes in. We are trying to assess engine data real time and process it. Our cloud process all this data that's being recorded during this drive is being sent to our cloud, and in our cloud there are a lot of complex algorithms which are crunching all this data, and they come up with information about the drop in performance in the engine. What is the reason behind the drop in performance? Is it the fuel system? Is it the force induction system? Is it the compression itself? Is the combustion pressure not up to the mark? So all of this data is being processed by the algorithms in our cloud, and that's where the prognostics comes in. So prognostics coupled with the drive alerts is what gives CarINTELL this great capability to ensure that every car which is running with it is bringing down tailpipe emissions, and even overall over the months as it's being driven through the city, the highway, the car is kept in good stead and ensures that the fuel consumption is optimal, the emissions are optimal, and you also enjoy your drive because your car remains the same until your next service. Alright, so I think I'm done for this video. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to shut down the engine and also shut down the video. Thank you very much.